Ching ching, Paola.
Salute!
Salute to you, and hope you're having a great day no matter where you're watching. So happy to have our friend Paola back. We had such a good show with you. Listen, stick around because look at this stuff over here. All locally picked. Anyone know what this is? Tenorumi, basilico, tomatoes picked right out of here. And Paula is going to have a recipe in just a bit, plus a great way to get rid of the smelly garlic breath. Yes, stay tuned. But first, I want to continue a little bit our conversation with Paula. You left Sicily in 1968 at the age of 17, and imagine she went to New York City with her family. Can you talk a little bit about the conditions that were here and what it was like to go to the United States?
Well, I was 17. I was in school. I had started the first Liceo Classico, which is high school superiore, and it was very sad to leave all my friends because it's a small town. In Castellammare, we have about 12,000 inhabitants, so everybody almost knows each other, and especially in the school, Francesco Crispi, Giovanni Pascoli. We had gymnasium, and it was sad to leave everybody on one side. On the other side, it was so exciting to go to New York, the States, the Big Apple, and it was very exciting also that we were on a boat on the Raffaello. Con il Raffaello, vacanze con l'ombrello e con la felicità. That was the song that every night the show will end on the cruise. And it was very nice because I had not been out of Castellammare except going to Palermo.
You were a foreigner, a complete stranger in a strange land. What was your first impression of New York?
When we got to New York, it was beautiful. The skyscrapers. We got in the harbor of New York City. It was kind of messy at the port, but then once we get out, it was beautiful. All the so much traffic, all the highways, because we were a guest of my mother's brother, Zia Rosina, and she had a beautiful dinner for us waiting. Of course, even in New York, we found Italian food. That was
so I
great.
want to ask you about
beautiful.
that because so you went over there. It was different foods and different. You had family there, but how did you integrate with other non-Sicilians, non-Italians? Was it difficult?
Well,
Was it challenging?
And you know what? Let me tell you something.
Well, probably with your personality.
No, but basically, what is this? If you meet people when you're abroad, if you meet people from your own town, then you almost think you're relatives. It could be your brother, your sister, that's how close you are. And then if you meet other Sicilians, whether it be Syracuse, Taormina, Palermo, you feel good feelings. It's nice to interact with them.
It felt familiar.
Yes.
Now, you didn't speak any English. Zero, correct?
Very little because
I know your dad went to the United States a few years early. He probably learned.
Yeah, but he did not speak.
How did you learn English?
Well, the first 6 months that I was there, and this is something that I recommend to everybody. Okay. I went to New York University. I took a English course for foreigners, and it was very nice because we got there in November. I took. In January, I started a 6-month course, and then in September, I registered for the last year of high school. So I went to Grover Cleveland High School. Of course, I took it
over a little bit.
I took Italian, and it was nice because
you spoke Sicilian, you spoke Italian.
Well, it's Italian to school with it. I went to Liceo Classico, so I
had
to
speak
Italian,
of course.
But they would bring my grades up, and it would make up for. English at the beginning. It was grammar. English was not too good, or American history. However, after that, so I graduated from high school, and then I took 2 years. I took a secretarial school. It was a private at the Chrysler Building on 42nd Street. So I was very well introduced to Manhattan, which was beautiful, very exciting. We had kids from everywhere. It was very nice.
So let me just tell people, so we're in Alcamo Marina, right outside of Castellammare del Golfo. We're just wrapping up our June tour. We stay at the villas by Paola. She's got beautiful villas with amazing views. Also has a villa in Castellammare del Golfo Centro, and she's got a tour company, a travel company, right?
Agenzia Italia in New York.
Agenzia Italia. I'll leave you guys a link down below. I want to ask you, what are some of the things that you really miss besides family, friends, and things like that? What about life in Sicily did you miss in New York?
What I was the freedom to just the color of the sky, the smell of the plants, the wildness. I mean, I'm a good tourist, and I love to hike in the mountains, to go and pick up vegetables, fruits, just to wander around. To go
So
to the
let me
beach.
just tell you guys, about 30 minutes before we came on air, she was down at the farm now here, seriously hand picking these so we can give you a little bit of a recipe, and also the cactus leaves. Can you believe that? She's picking basilico and so forth. So, a lot of people, we hear that a lot, that they miss the foods, the nature, the bounty that comes from Sicily. And really, Paola is one of those people, everywhere you look around, you've got natural things. Look at this honey over here. I showed you figs the other day. She'll just go and pick them. There are fig trees all over. The berries I picked down. What are those berries called?
Gelsi.
No, those are gelsi. Those are different type of gelsi.
No, okay, we have two types of gelsi.
Look at my fingers; they're still red.
We have the white gelsi, which are the first ones that come out in the season, and then we have gelsi rossi, which that's the ones you picked.
Oh, and so good. This period is so
good,
beautiful.
You don't have to have blueberries over here to eat healthy, but you could have
gelsi, you have cherries,
the wild cherries,
strawberries.
But the gelsi, it's number one.
Let me ask you one more question about your move, and then we'll go into a little bit of recipes. When was the first time you came back here after moving to Sicily, and what was that like?
It was after 5 years.
Wow.
Yes. Well, we went to New York as immigrants. We had to settle down. We were renting. It was 1968, the beginning of 69.
Yeah.
We were living in Brooklyn, in an Italian neighborhood. So that helped. I have to say that was very nice, because you will go down the main avenue and you will find bakery and the bakers were from Mazzara del Vallo.
So all local. So it felt familiar. So what was it like to come back here?
So when we come back here, it just at the beginning.
How did you feel?
At the beginning, like you couldn't believe that the streets, Via Bombente was so small. Like the first
in comparison
to the big avenue in the city, in New York. Wow. But then after a few days, then you get used to it, and it was beautiful to go back to our farm in Inici, and to come to the beach, and to see the friends that I left behind. That was very, very touchy, very emotional, I should say. All
right, we're going to talk a little bit more to Paola about her move, but now let's go into this very important topic, because tonight we're having tenorumi. Now explain to people what these are.
Are you asking me to share my recipe?
Yes, I am.
Because this is
tenorumi alla Paola.
Pasta con tenorumi alla Paola. Because really it's alla Paola.
Wait, let's talk about what is this, because
everybody knows, I believe that everybody knows the zucchini, which we call Genovese, the short one. However, these are the long zucchini. Cucuzze longe. Cucuzza. That's what it is.
Cucuzza, which you can eat, but it's interesting that you can eat the leaves from it as well.
Right. As a matter of fact, my kids eat the leaves, but they don't like much the zucchini. I
prefer the leaves. And this this flavor, it's not really amato. It's a little bit sweet.
Yeah, but it's very mild. It's
very
not
mild.
It's not like Swiss chard. It's not like spinach or broccoli. This is very mild. And you can make this is a summer dish. Very refreshing, very good. Because during the
The way
summer,
I do it, just, you don't have to make the pasta. The way I do it is I boil it, then I get a pan with olive oil, garlic, a little bit of hot pepper flake, and first I steam them and then I saute them. Delicious. But how do you make the pasta?
I make differently than like I cut in small pieces. I boil it with the zucchini. I'll probably put a little potato so it comes kind of gluey,
Mhm.
and then I put some tubettini or broken spaghetti. Little, not much, because you
Okay.
want to taste the vegetables. You don't want a lot.
So,
Of, it's
you
not
don't
a pasta
saute
plate.
them. You don't
No,
saute. No,
because it has to be healthy. Because remember, when you cook, you have to remember health. You have to eat healthy, and everything they put in the frying pan, it's still healthy, but okay. But this, even though you don't fry it, it tastes very good, because then it's at the end. Once,
And then what do you do? Do
and
you use the
then
tomatoes?
once you drain it, when the pasta's done, and the vegetables are done, do not overcook the vegetables.
No.
Then you prepare a nice bruschetta sauce, okay, with good garlic from where? Nubia.
Nubia.
Right.
By us, we got it from Alfio. The
Okay.
San Alfio up by Tre Castagni. Right
Okay.
now is the garlic season. Garlic
Yes,
everywhere.
like
Everywhere.
delicious garlic, tasty.
Nubia, by the way, is right outside of Trapani. So when we were there on the tour, there were these long, beautiful braided. In fact, why don't I go get one of your
the ones,
garlic?
because that's the first thing that I buy as soon as I get to Sicily, my garlic, because it's amazing how good it is and how much I use it. So you drain the pasta with the vegetables, and then you put some bruschetta sauce on top, which you're going to put good tomatoes, lots of basil, and you put on top of the pasta. And remember, the other trick is the olive oil.
Look at this. Nice and braided. This is the garlic that she has here, and we have some by us.
Smell it.
Buono, buono.
Now, a lot of people, what they think is that when you present this recipe, but the smell of garlic, it will stay on me. They're like, I cannot kiss my boyfriend. I can do this and that. They're like, I have that also, the recipe to take care of the smelly garlic. Okay, now what you
Here,
do
let
is
me
this.
hold this up. All right.
Okay.
Can you guys see what we have? We have lemon.
You take lemon.
Wait, let me show them the ingredients. This is ground coffee and
sugar. So what you do is this. I'm going to show to you, because this is.
Wait, I want to know if you guys have ever heard of this recipe, or do you have a recipe to get rid of garlic brown?
Okay, now, see, you have lemon, the coffee grind, and some sugar. Okay, guess what you do with it? You hit the garlic. It's kind of garlic, and you go.
Only here on You, Me, and Sicily will you get this. Wow.
And then you have to wash down. You take a little vodka. And salute.
Salute.
And there goes the garlic.
All right. So now let's
You don't
talk
believe
about
me?
this.
You
Try
do.
it.
You try it.
Okay. Now let's talk about this. This is a cactus leaf. Of course, you can see she already cleaned it off because you can see the juices, but you can actually eat this. It's not just the pica di India, the prickly pears, which are the fruits that come from cactus. You can also eat this. How do you make this, Paola?
This, you could just put a tiny little salt, brush a little bit of olive oil, and put on the barbecue if you're on extreme diet. Okay. However, tonight it's going to be passed by the egg, breaded and baked. You could ask my guest later how they like it. It's along with eggplants. Eggplants will have one taste, but this will also be very good. And the funny thing is that they will not know what they're eating, and they will keep on asking, oh my God, it's so good. What is it? And then I'm going to show them after they eat.
It's always an experience. So if you're just joining us, we had a tenerumi pasta alla Paola. I want to say a quick hello. There's someone here, Leanne Grover Cleveland High School in Ridgewood.
Yes.
Her old neighborhood. Leanne says that. Does Paola have any relatives in Motta de Afermo? She looks so much like my husband's aunt, who has unfortunately passed. Their father was born in Motta. He came here in 1902.
Not that I know of.
Everyone is from Castellammare in your
Yes.
family. Both her mom and dad, Paola, was born here as well. Buonasera a tutti. Okay, we've got Mary here. Good thing I love the taste of garlic. Mary and B and Don and Tom, some of our guests here. We've been having so much fun. Okay. Never heard of it. Garlic does not bother me. Garlic does not bother me either. I really, really like it.
And it's so healthy. You know that, right?
She said, Linda says I can eat plain lemons. I love them. You can also make a lemon salad. You know, some of the lemons here are really, really thick. And the pulp, you can cut them up and make a delicious salad. So that's wonderful. Mary says we are watching, so we do what, so they know what they're going to be eating. Very popular. That's very interesting. Oh, that's right. The prickly pear leaves are very popular. That's right. Okay, Paola. Paola is a great chef, and I want to ask you, what are your top 3 favorite dishes to make? Sicilian.
Sicilian.
Wow. She's stumped. She has to think.
No, I have to think because there are a lot of you're saying Sicilian, okay?
Yeah.
Now, one of my flavorful dish is melanzane ripiene, stuffed eggplants.
Ooh.
Now, everybody now makes with the chopped meat, with cheeses, with I like the old-fashioned way, which is with it's tomatoes, onions, garlic, sharp pecorino cheese,
Ooh,
and then the tomatoes, nice ripe tomatoes, lots of rosemary, and the tomatoes you season with very little salted anchovies.
Ooh.
Tiny little, very taste of cinnamon and some sugar.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Okay.
That sounds good.
And then you cook on very slowly.
Okay.
And it's a dish that you could eat. It's good when it's hot, but it's very, very good when it's
cold.
What is it called?
What is it called?
Melanzane ripiene.
Melanzane ripiene.
Right.
Stuffed
eggplants. Okay.
Other 2?
Other 2. Whatever I use by my house, it's pasta con sarde.
Oh, I see Jim Ingram here. That's one of his favorites. So why don't you can you give a quick recipe? Pasta con sarde?
Pasta con sarde. Well, the ingredients have to be good. You have to have fresh sardines, and which you take the skin and the spines off. And then you have to have good wild fennels, little raisins, and some pine nuts.
Ooh, buona.
In Palermo, they make green.
Yeah.
By my house, or at least in Castellammare.
And you have to have the wild fennel.
Yes.
Oh, that to me, that makes the dish.
That makes the dish. And that's why probably I come in April when we go to my farm. It's a place where we grow a lot of fennels. And I pick them.
It grows wild in a lot of places.
But like in the summertime, you don't find anymore.
Right.
So it's March, April, May. March and April, you find nice, in the mountains, and I boil it and I freeze it. Ooh. So in the summertime, when I come, I have it, and I can make as much pasta with salt as I can, and. Usually macaroni, it's fresh macaroni.
No, say it in Sicilian.
With pasta
macaroni.
Macarona
in Sicilian.
Macarona a porte aperte e lignate a porte chiuse.
Remind me what that means.
What it means. When you eat,
you told Alfred's you told Alfred's grandson that when you eat, you open the door.
Right.
If you're bad,
right,
close the door.
Close the door. Right? Because you're going to get it. That's why.
You're going to get it. Oh, does she do this to me all day long? All right. I just want to say a couple of people. Peter says he'll be picking the garlic in about a month. How about these tomatoes? Peter Scapoletti's is our tomato guy. I want to say a big thank you to Donna for the super sticker. That is so kind. Thank you very much. Jim says it tells a story, fantastic story. It's a story that comes from the heart of the home, the kitchen. That's right. Very, very nice. Let me see. Nick says one of the favorite dishes I always try to improve is pasta alla norma. Does Paola have any secrets she would like to share on her making this traditional Sicilian dish?
Yes.
Now,
Okay.
before you go on, pasta alla norma is the traditional Catanese. It's mostly by Catania. They make it all over the
Palermo too.
island. Well, they make it all over the island, but it's mostly the dish of Catania. And it's basically pasta with eggplant and ricotta salata, which is one of my favorite cheeses.
But the
So
secret,
your secret.
the secret to get a good pasta alla norma, it's the sauce. Okay.
Mm.
The fresh tomato sauce, which you do not overcook it. It has to be very fresh. You have to taste the freshness and the good eggplant. And the eggplant, remember, even though it's fried, or you could even bake in small
Yeah.
cubes, has to be done with good olive oil.
Okay.
That don't use
Now,
any
do
other
you
oil.
soak your eggplants first?
I usually don't, because when you soak the eggplants,
Yeah.
and you wash it out,
Yeah.
you're washing out the good properties, the good values,
Brava.
benefits of the eggplant. As a matter of fact, somebody told me that you could take the eggplant, cut it, put in a jug, put in the refrigerator, and drink the water, which is good
that's a
for
new one.
cholesterol.
That's a new one. Wow.
Yes, I don't have cholesterol, but
Now,
sometimes I do
you
it.
obviously make your sauce fresh, right?
Of course.
Of course, you have garlic, the good olive oil. How else do you make it? Because some people put onions, some people put red wine, some people put sugar. You know what?
In a marinara sauce. No, just you brown some onions, and if you want, you could put some garlic. I usually chop a little bit of basil, and what you do, you take 1 or 2 tomatoes and you cut it, the skin, the seeds, everything. And you put it in
Because
there.
there are some people that boil this or parboil it, then take off the skin and then put it back.
Right. No, but even when you make the sauce, you use all the tomatoes.
Yeah.
The whole tomato.
The entire skin. Yes.
And then you could add the passata or the strained tomato sauce.
Passata is like tomato sauce without any flavoring, nothing. Okay.
But that's the one. And then let it cook for a few minutes. We use a little bit more basil, some bay leaf.
Ooh.
Just 1 or 2, because bay leaf, it's very flavorful.
Yeah.
So you don't want to
overdo it. Yeah.
And do not put oregano, because you're ruining the sauce.
Ooh, that's very interesting. No oregano. Do you guys put oregano or basil or both? Let me know. I have a question here for you, Paola. My mother, Sicilian, always made peppers and eggs. Do you know if this was from Sicily? I mean,
yes.
baked peppers, yes, but peppers and eggs.
Yeah, frittata. That's frittata.
Frittata.
Right.
But you make it with the spinach.
I make with
Linda, do you need the frittata? Let me know. Buono, le melanzane alla campagna. Jim says, Esther, that's a great idea. Video on foraging for wild spinach, asparagus, oregano, etc. We do have plenty of oregano that she bought, also dry. Paola's skin is so smooth. What does she use on it? Good food it shows in the skin. What do you use? I'll tell you what she uses, but she forgot. The coconut cream.
Right.
That's what you usually use.
But the skin, it's whatever you eat. Yeah. Okay, that's also.
I would venture to say it's all the healthy living and all the healthy foods that she makes. Definitely. Nick says, thank you so much. Okay, Paola. So the third recipe.
The third recipe, breaded eggplants.
Oh, that is so good. That is so good.
Breaded eggplants, with my. Now there's another one. I got so many.
What?
How about the sun-dried stuffed tomatoes?
You have to give them this recipe. Give them this recipe. It's unbelievable.
No, they have to come here and taste it, because if I don't make it, it will not be tasted the same. Okay, or next time.
We'll give them a little bit of a recipe.
Okay, well,
sun-dried tomatoes.
You're going to have on my site when I make the sun-dried tomatoes.
Okay.
I buy the fresh tomatoes, nice and ripe.
I'll post some pictures
I cut it. I put on the salt. They stay for 3 or 4 days. They dry out
in the sun.
So you have the combination of the salt, the sun, and the acidity with the tomatoes. So it's very zesty, spicy, good. And then when you have to use it, we soak it for a couple of hours, trying to take the salt out. We dry it.
Yeah.
And then we stuffed with breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs should not be dried. The same breadcrumbs should be.
And let me tell you that she makes her breadcrumbs, because any bread, nothing goes to waste in this house. Well, that's also at my house. Nothing goes to waste. So when there's a little bit of old bread, she's toasting it and crushing it.
And so you take the breadcrumbs. Over here, it's nice because I find fresh breadcrumbs at the bakery.
Yeah.
And then you put pecorino cheese. It has to be nice, tasty cheese.
Pecorino is a very good cooking cheese, I find.
Because it's very flavorful.
Yeah.
And lots of parsley, salt, pepper, a little spice of cinnamon.
Cinnamon is a spice you use a lot, and it's really adds a very nice little flavor. I love it.
Because you're supposed to use enough. You do not overdo it. Because if you put a lot, and then it becomes like the Indian spices.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Very little. And plus, you have to remember that this part of Sicily, it's Arabic.
Yeah.
So that's why we have the Arabic influence. That's why some of our dishes are sweet. Okay? But sun-dried tomatoes, it's that dish that you eat. Anyway, so then you put in the breadcrumbs, you put some olive oil, a little bit of water, you make moist.
Yeah.
Because you're going to stuff these tomatoes, and then you
close
it
them up
like a big clam.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you fry it
with a little bit of olive oil.
Right, with that, of course, you fry with olive oil, and then you serve it, and everybody loves it. It's one of the main
flavorful.
I've never seen anybody that doesn't love sun-dried tomatoes. So when they see me, they just sun-dried tomatoes. We have a lawyer.
It's the first thing I always say when I come here. Sun-dried tomatoes. Sun-dried tomatoes.
Right.
Your sun-dried tomatoes. Amazing.
We have somebody that works upstairs in New York at my office, and he comes in the morning and says, "Paola, it's today sun-dried tomato day."
Wow. Okay, Linda says yes, and she also used potatoes and eggs. I was raised in Brooklyn in an Italian neighborhood. Paola puts some for her, inside your frittata as well.
In frittata, first of all, you could clean up your refrigerator, whatever it's left over.
Wait a second. Let me just say, Nick, time for Paola to create a cookbook. Let me tell you that we also have a cookbook, and we need some of your recipes into our cookbook. Oh. We're working on a Yumi and Sicily cookbook from some of Alfred's family. His grandmother hand wrote them. Do you write your recipes down? What about your kids and your grandkids? We need to start writing these down.
Well, my daughter-in-laws come in every other Sunday. They take lessons. Okay, they come and help.
Listen, next time I'm coming here, we're doing another video with you.
Okay,
we have to do a
cooking next week.
No, so let me give you guys a little bit. Jim says nutmeg as well. Do you use nutmeg?
Yes. Yeah. I use nutmeg in my meatballs. I use nutmeg in the ragu, nello stufato, and when I make the bechamel.
Oh,
I love nutmeg.
So let me just tell you guys, just a quick update that our tour wraps up tomorrow. Alfred is already back in Catania. Took him about 3 hours and 45 minutes. Of course, he stopped at the Auto Grill, our favorite place. And I'll be taking the train from Castellammare del Golfo to Palermo Centrale to Catania. And I'll definitely have a report for you guys later this week. Let's see. Mary says it was spectacular. She's talking about your stuffed eggplant. Peter Scipoletti, I would love to meet Paola. Peter, we've been talking about this. When are you coming? It's time. Sicily is calling your and Jean's name. So why don't you come? All right. A few more minutes with Paola. Just one more business item. Make sure you, by the way, like this video, share it with a friend. And Finally, we still have spots open for our October tour of the East Coast of Sicily. Paola, you'll be back already in New York. So message me if you want. All right, a few more minutes with Paola if you have any questions for her. I want to ask you something really important that I meant to ask you last time. By the way, we had another video with Paola. I'll leave you a comment in the description of this show. We talked about you coming here. I wanted to know, there's so many Sicilians right now trying to connect to their ancestral home. And you living in New York, you get this all the time. How do I find family in Sicily? What is your advice to people? We tell people to, use Facebook, use a professional company that does, not ancestry, but will go and investigate where your ancestors are. But what are some of the pieces of advice that you give to your friends and clients?
Well, usually you try to find out where they were born, where the grandfather, the grandmother, or where they were born. We bring them to the municipality, especially if they have the year they were born.
Yeah.
And then you go there, happens to.
But if they have no idea, if they don't know, they'll say, all I know is that my grandfather came from Chaka.
But they have to know the name. That's all you need.
But so give them a little bit of advice.
They have to start with a name, because when you go over here, if you go to Trapani, and you ask for Asaro, for instance, okay, the guy at the municipal or at the department will tell you, Asaro, it's not a name from here. Go to Partanna, okay, or go to Shaka, okay, because they know what names where the original the names are from. Okay, so
because there are regions where some of those names are prevalent. In fact, when we went with B, I think it was her grandmother or grandfather. If you're watching right now, let me know. We asked in Trapani, my cognome, my grandmother's cognome or mother's cognome was blah, blah, blah. And the woman said, of course, that's a typical Trapani name.
Right, yes, right. And when we went with Jeannie and the sister to
Jeannie Marchesi.
Right. We went to Camporeale. They said, no, it's not from here. They're like, it's from Partanna. And the guy called the guy from Partanna, and he came and he took us to the city hall, and then he took us to his house, and they're very hospitable, very nice. It's just because that's one thing you have to stress out.
She said Pagano. B says Pagano was the Trapani. Yeah.
Right.
Let me just take a few more questions. Arancini, of course, we've talked about arancini. That's like an unbelievable street food. Do you make the arancini?
I don't.
You make everything else. That's for sure.
But you know why? Because over here, if you
just go to any store.
Castellammare, to Bar Millennium, or Pasticceria 2000, the best arancini. And then you go to Bar Grazia.
Yeah, we have our places for arancini. We have our places for crispelli. We have our places for everything. How long is the train ride to Catania from Palermo? It's about 3 hours. Well, it depends if you're taking the fast or slow. It could take 3 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, depending on how.
Even the bus would take 3 hours.
Listen, I want to agree 100% with Nick. He says this woman is a Sicilian treasure. So and her love for Sicily just shines. It sure does. All right, Paola, final words. We're going to have you maybe another time. We're going back to Catania. I want to say it's been so lovely with you. You are such a gracious host. You know how much I love you. We've been working with Paola since 2015, and the friendship just keeps on growing. So, final words.
Ok, arrivederci. Vediamoci in Sicilia. Okay, keep on watching Esther because she does a beautiful job. Interesting. She brings all the traditions, all the feast, everything to have abroad.
And I'm not even Sicilian.
Yeah, but Sicily conquered you.
Oh, okay. Sicily conquered. Right. It's in my bloodstream for sure.
You never know. I'm sure if you go through the special
test, I must have. I feel
was
so at
Sicilian,
home here. I feel
right?
so at home. There might, because the Habsburg, maybe some because of the Habsburgs were
Right.
here.
Yes.
Hungary
Yeah. Right.
Habsburgs. Who
You
knows?
never know.
Listen, thank you
I hope you
so
enjoyed
much for
tonight.
watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if Alfred Zappala is watching, we miss you, Alfred. We love you. And we'll see you on another episode of You, Me, and Sicily.
Ciao.
Arrivederci. Ciao.
Salute.